Hey friends, I had a few minutes at school today. I'm in our library, and so I thought I would just film this video really quickly of how I got my fourth graders to make realistic water droplets. So here is what I showed on Facebook. See if I can get the camera to focus. I just think they did such a good job. I was really proud of them. So some people were eager to learn how they could do it themselves. So I'm going to show you. First, I need to let you know that the number one thing you need to know about making realistic water droplets is understanding the element of art of value. Value is the darkness or lightness or intense saturation of a color. So I'm going to switch my camera view, show you a value scale, and we'll talk about that a little bit. And then we will look at a photo. Actually, it's not a photo. It's a drawing by C.J. Hendry of water droplets. We'll look at her drawing and just make some observations about it so that we understand what our goals in drawing the water droplets are a little bit better. And then I'll show you step by step how you can do this on your own. So here we go. Okay, so the first thing you need to know about drawing is value. Value is the lightness or darkness of a color on your paper. And so when we say darkness, we really mean how intense the saturation of that color is. So on this value scale, you can see that in the spot where it says 1, it's the darkest. And we get these different values by how much pressure or layers that we are applying with our pencil. So 1 is the darkest pressure. 2, it's a little bit lighter. 3, it's a little bit lighter, and so on and so forth until we get up to 9 where there's nothing. We don't have any pencil at all. If we were doing this with a color instead of just a regular graphite pencil, then the square that has 1 would be the most intense saturation of color. So when we use our white colored pencil, it's going to be very, very saturated white, opaque, and then it will get lighter and lighter or softer and softer as we go up the value gradient. In this bottom section, we have our gradient without any lines between them. It's a really smooth transition of going from dark to light. And that is really the only thing that you need to know to be able to draw realistic water drops. So let me pull up a picture of some water droplets and we'll take a look at those value gradients within the droplets. Okay, so I pulled up this image of water droplets. All I did was Google C.J. Hendry and water droplets, and this came up. And I just want to show you that it really is all about value in creating this optical illusion. So we've got these shapes that are circular. They're not perfect circles. Some are ovals, some are a little bit wobbly. And that is really great for us because it makes it easy. We do not have to draw perfect circles. We can just draw circular shapes. Part of what's helping the illusion is that the shading and the highlight are both following the curve of the circular shapes. So notice at the top of this water droplet, we have a it's a curve of gray shading that's darkest at the top, and it gets lighter and lighter and lighter as we get to the middle. It goes in a value gradient. On the opposite side, we have another curve. This time it's curving upwards with the most intense saturation of white at the bottom near the edge, and then it gets softer and softer with white towards the middle. In the very middle, there's no shadow or highlight. It's just the plain gray paper back there. And those two curves, one dark and one light, are creating the illusion that this water droplet is popping out of the paper at us. We're also helped by this little point of glare right inside the shading part. And then on the very bottom of the water droplet, the cast shadow. So if the light is coming down from this upper right corner then the shadows are on the opposite side of that. They're on the lower part and they're slightly angled to the left. Notice that all of the shadows are going the same direction. All of the glare spots are kind of in the same general area in each water droplet. So now that we've made those observations, we have a clearer understanding of what our goals are in drawing our own water droplets. Let me switch my camera view and we'll just go through step by step in how to draw it yourself. So here we go. Okay, so all I have here is a quarter sheet of gray construction paper. I'm using gray because that is going to help my highlight with white colored pencil really stand out. You could try it on white paper, but I think it'll be a lot easier if you use a paper that is slightly toned. So newsprint, any kind of beige paper, a paper bag, cardboard, that kind of thing, or any color of construction paper will be great. The gray colored pencil or gray paper really helps with the optical illusion because the graphite that we're using in our regular pencil is also gray in tone. So let's get started with this. I'm just using a regular number 2 pencil. It is not anything special or fancy, just a school pencil. And then I am using a Prismacolor white colored pencil. You could do this with Crayola or Prang, basic school supply pencils too. The Prismacolor is just going to show up a little bit better because it is a softer lead and it's just creamier and more pigmented. So you can definitely use what you have, but if you have a nicer artist quality colored pencil, this will be a little bit easier. So to start, we're just going to draw our circular shapes. Again, they don't have to be perfect. I recommend that you draw light. I'm going to use a little bit more pressure just so you can see the lines on the camera. And I'm just going to make 3 water droplets here. So I've got my 3 circle shapes. I am going to start with my highlights. The reason I like to start with my highlights is because I can be pretty guilty of accidentally coloring over where I want my highlights to be. So if I put them in first, I'm a lot less likely to make that mistake. Other artists like to start with their shadows. It's up to you, but if this is the first time you're doing this, I recommend starting with the highlights. So with your white colored pencil, we're just going to go ahead and put in our glare spots. Those were those little spots near the top, and I like to do a glare with just kind of a curved dash. I want my glare spots to be in roughly the same area of each water droplet. And then I'm going to do the highlight that was along the bottom edge. So I'm following the curve of the droplet, and I'm applying the most pressure towards closest to the edge. And then as I go up, I'm loosening up on the pressure. And I can actually even color in little circles and add layers to get that value gradient. Make sure that you're maintaining that curve. It should look kind of like a smile. Some of my students said it looked like old men with beards or face masks. So there's that gradient. Then we can switch over to our pencil, and we're going to do the same thing but opposite. So now we're going to curve downwards, and it's going to be darkest towards the outside edge and then get lighter and lighter as we get towards the center of our droplet. So I'm putting a lot of pressure towards the outside edge, and then I'm going to start shading in with medium pressure, keeping that curve, and then really light pressure. And one little tip you can use with just regular graphite lead is you can actually take your finger and kind of smudge that graphite out, and it will help create a really soft transition. So there's that. And then of course we have our cast shadow. So underneath our droplet, again, darkest right under the droplet, doing lots of pressure, and then a medium amount of pressure, and then lightest. And this is another really good place just to kind of smudge it out. Make sure that when you're smudging, though, that you don't go up into your highlighted area. So there's one droplet. Seems to be kind of a glare on from the camera, but you can see that optical illusion there. Just going to make my top edge a little bit darker and see if I can smooth out that transition a little bit more. Okay, so now we just fill in the other droplets in the same way. So this time I'll start really light, and then I'll just do a light layer over my whole section. And then I can go a little bit harder in that medium section. And then harder pressure towards this outside edge. Just trying to get that smooth gradient transition. You can use your fingers to smudge this too. I'd recommend using a different finger than what you smudged your pencil with, just so you don't smear gray from your fingertips in there. Okay, then we're going to do at the top. So again, curving down, and I'll do the same thing. I'll start with the lightest, shading in lightly in this whole section. I'm just going in really small circles. And then I'll apply a little bit more pressure. And then darkest, hardest pressure towards the outside edge. And I can smudge. And then I need my cast shadow. So underneath, really close, lots of pressure. Getting that nice dark shadow under my water droplet. And then it's going to get a little bit lighter and smudge. Now, if you have a drawing pencil, this one is a 6B pencil, so it's a little bit darker. It's a little bit of a softer graphite, and so it's going to be a lot easier to blend with, but you have to be careful that you don't get too dark with your pressure. So on this one, I'll start near the top, and you'll probably be able to see right away just how much darker. See how much darker that is. And then when I smudge, it's a lot softer and creamier of a lead. I don't know if you can see that well on camera, but using artist quality or artist grade tools will sometimes make the task a little bit easier. Now see, I lost my highlight, so I need to go back in and add it back in. And then I'll do my highlighting down here, following this curve. I will say, you might not see the optical illusion on your own work right away, because we are looking at this like it's flat, it's two-dimensional. But walk away from your art and come back to it while it's just lying on the table, and I bet your own eyes will be tricked by your own optical illusion, and you will see it. You'll see the water droplet kind of pop out from the page, or show someone else. You might be able to fool them, and they might think that it's a real water droplet because their eyes don't know that you have been trying to trick them. So there we go. That's how you draw water droplets. I would love to see a picture of yours. If you want to leave it in the comments of this Facebook post or on YouTube. feel free to, I don't think you can add a picture on YouTube. Never mind. Send it to me on Facebook or tag me on Instagram. My Instagram handle is Mrs. Linhart. I hope you had fun. This was really fun to share with you. And I don't know, maybe in the future there will be more art tutorials. So have a great weekend, and I can't wait to see your water droplets. Bye.